Nicky Nicole of Divas of the Roundtable podcast. I'm joined today on the show with Miss Nakita Kitty Watley. Last year on Divas of the Roundtable podcast, we had Kitty on our show talking about her many business ventures in and around the Jacksonville area. From Kitty's custom cleaning to Kitty's car wash, Kitty's lawn service to Rising CEO Academy, Kitty, along with her brother Dietrich and two sisters, Tracy and Dion, has made the Kitty brand a force to be reckoned with here in the city. But the mother of two, grandmother of one, was not done yet. Last year, Kitty founded the Pink Rubies Dance Team, a dance team here in the local area for women aged 40 and up, and that's what we're talking about today. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome to the show, Miss Nakita Kitty Watley.
All right. Thank you for having me. Right. I truly appreciate it.
All right, thank you. So as many of our viewers in the Jacksonville area may know, just recently you and your family was featured on the news. Tell us about that experience.
Yes, we were featured on News for Jacks for Women's History Month. They contacted us because we are a female-owned car wash, which in the actual country makes up only about 20% of car washes. And so they contacted us and wanted to come out and see our operation.
All right. Yes. Yeah, I saw you on there and I was like, look at my girl doing her thing. But you know, I was thinking, I said, well, we need to get her on to talk about her latest venture, the Pink Rubies Dance Team. So what inspired you to start the Pink Rubies Dance Team?
All right, Pink Rubies Dance Team, honestly. I was sitting in my living room and I love dance. And I was like, I want to start a dance team for women over 40. And that's mainly how it happened. I wanted to start a dance team for women over 40, just because sometimes once you get over 40, you feel a little left out because there's really nothing much going on. And it actually gave purpose to my workouts. Like I was going to the gym working out, but sometimes you're doing it just because you're doing it. But with the dance team, it gave it a purpose. Now I worked out because I know I need my stamina. I know I need to wear my uniforms, things like that.
Okay. So initially, with it being something to get women to dance and to work out, at what point did you realize that the dance team was becoming something bigger than just working out and getting together?
Once I started talking to the ladies that were joining, I was realizing that it gave them purpose. And many of them had health issues that they were facing, and the doctors had told them to start exercising and eating better. And then some of them were just empty nesters and looking for a hobby. And that's one of the main things. And then when I started posting it on social media, the response that we received from the public and how proud they were that we're doing something specifically for women over 40 started letting me know that this is turning into a thing.
Okay. So what was your initial vision for Pink Rubies and how did it evolve over time once you got things going?
My initial vision was we would be dancing. That's all I really had. I went and found the location and it had mirrors and I knew that we would be dancing. And then one day I was like, you know what? Yo, we can do the MLK parade. And I thought about, I could see it in my mind, us being in the parade, women over 40, and having dance routines. Because sometimes when we do, people think we're a line dancing team. We do know how to line dance, but we're actually a dance team. And that's so rare. And I could see us in the parade. I said, okay, since we started in the parade, now that comes to what will we wear? Things like that.
Okay. So when you saying like people thought you were a line dancing team, is it sort of like y'all kind of sort of like majorette? Like, because I know when the bands and stuff, I see y'all kind of in a parade similar to that. So sort of like a majorette style of dance?
Yes, more like a majorette. Okay, how I can say it, a Viking.
Yes.
That kind of style.
Okay.
I know a lot of people in our age can, relate to Viking. So like that, those type of dance.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So with the team growing and you all doing multiple performances and y'all having those performances line up fairly quickly, what were some of the challenges that you all faced in the beginning of Pink Rubies Dance Team?
Some of the challenges were, uniforms. And we had to pay for uniforms. Okay. So we had to find things that fit everybody, and we had to pay for them, and we had to get somebody to actually design the uniforms and bling them out and all of that, which I didn't think about when I started the team.
Okay.
I'm just thinking dance team, not really thinking about we would have to get uniforms. Then that means that has to come out of your pocket to pay for the uniforms. And then everyone has to pay in time. It was just a lot more than I thought about.
Okay. So I know, because me and you have talked off camera and we've talked previously about the uniform, the decision-making process concerning the uniforms was a major topic within your dance team. You know, like looking back, was there anything or any way that you could have handled those situations a little bit differently?
The only way I could have handled them differently is being honest. I would have had to have the knowledge that I have now to handle them different. I just didn't know. Because, you know, one thing is, you're used to buying clothes for you.
Yeah.
So when you're used to buying clothes for you, you don't really think about all the different sizes. You need to get something that fits size medium to size 3X.
Yeah.
And trying to find that. Then trying to find it that fits in a budget. Then trying to find it to fit in everyone's liking.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That's true.
And then having to pay for it and having to have a deadline on the payment, because if we're performing in 3 weeks, I have to put a deadline on when it's due. So the process is finding it, making sure everybody likes it, paying for it on time, then receiving it, and then customizing it.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too, a lot of people don't realize. You could have two women that's a size large, and it's two totally different body types.
Yes.
And they may look totally different in the same outfit, you know. And also, too, being a leader, if you have a group of women, a group of people, anybody, male, females, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you don't have time for everybody's input and vote and everything, because everybody has different personalities, different opinions, and all of that stuff. So sometimes you have to just step up and make the decision that needs to be made. And that's what being a leader is all about.
Yes.
And some people just don't get that because they've never been a leader.
Correct. Some people don't. Because it would be times where I don't have time for 13 people to vote.
Exactly.
Or some people, I want to try on my uniform first. I want to see how it fits. So we don't really have time to even do all of that.
Yeah.
And because we could go with custom uniforms, but if we go with custom uniforms, it's going to cost you that much more. And it's already issues in regards to what they're paying right now.
Yes.
So sometimes I have to make the executive decision that this is it. And not everybody likes that.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Many of the team members felt that the Pink Rubies was being run like a business. How do you feel about that? And how important do you think marketing the dance team was for the success of the team itself?
I think it had to be run like a business. Because if I didn't run it like a business, how would we get anywhere?
Yes.
How would we get uniforms? How would we get a practice facility? How would we get photographers? How would I get all of these different guidelines and rules that I had? So it had to be run like a business, which many people don't like. But in essence, what would happen is things would be very organized. Unorganized if I
you didn't. Yes.
Then I had to get logos. I had to get somebody to make the logo suite. We had to get all of that done. And when you get your logo, now you can market. Because if I didn't have a logo, what would I use for even my Facebook profile? You know, things so simple that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
And then with that, that's when I came and I was telling you about the organization chart. We had to run it like a team, like a business, so that we can get things handled.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just kind of be all over the place.
Yeah.
And then when you do it like that, those don't last.
And see, what I think people don't know too, and I guess they forgot because they know, they just forgot or didn't realize that you're a businesswoman, because you talked to us about just making sure we had our logo and everything. So all of that is cohesive. It flows together to help further your thing, because you don't want to get a logo, a name, and all of this stuff. You're doing your parades, you got your shirts, you got your capes, you got all of this stuff. Come to find out, you can't have that name because somebody else already has it.
Exactly.
So it's certain things and steps that need to be done. It's not all about fun and games and just some women just let's get together and let's dance and shuck and jive. It has to be run like a business in order for it to be successful.
Correct. That is Exactly correct. We might have done all of this, and next thing you know, on somebiz.org, somebody has that name.
Somebody has the name. So
And
now
then
you
you
got to
have to
rebrand and redo everything all over again. Yes.
Exactly. And that's
So
that's
important.
one of the main things. If you notice, our first meeting was like our first actual meeting, our first practice was like November 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So between November 12th and February, that's when the team really started.
Yeah.
But it seems like we're around a long time because all the branding and all the marketing that I was doing for it, that we were doing for it. And I was encouraging everyone to brand, to market, to put it out there, what you're doing. So people think we were around a long time.
Yeah.
I initially went live at the beginning of October saying I want to do it for over 40 dance team.
I remember.
It didn't have a name at the time.
I remember. And
then when I had the branding queen make the flyer, it said 40 and over dance team.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, like just riding off of that, from the outside looking in, people only see the performances, the sisterhood, and the fun times. But behind the scenes, you and your creative director, Mimi, what were some of the challenges that you all faced from the very beginning, just getting it off the ground? Like you just kind of hit on some of that, but what were some of the other things that people may not know, the general public may not know, that you all was facing just trying to even get the dance team together?
We were facing, I'm going to tell you, I talked to me and the branding queen would talk every day for like 2 or 3 hours. We spent so much time, like number one with her.
Hold on, let me interject right there because you keep saying the branding queen. A lot of you all may not know her creative director is Mimi, the branding queen.
Okay.
So when you all hear her refer to her and say the branding queen, she's talking about, as far as Pink Rubies are concerned, her creative director.
My creative director, because I'm
Yes.
calling her the branding queen.
She wear many hats like you.
She does. She's our creative director, and you can look up on Facebook, the THEE branding queen.
Yes.
We would spend so much time on the phone about organization. She would spend so much time researching uniforms, all of this. That was one of our main things. We had to take our personal time to get things organized, to find uniforms, to get things together with parades. And I started getting a lot of networking.
Yeah.
Networking with other people. And that's the stuff that the team didn't see.
Yeah.
So they saw, okay, they see the practices, they see the practice facility, but the leg work that we put into that was and still is a lot. We're more organized now because we were doing trial and error on what we were doing.
Yeah.
And so that's why sometimes I would say, you all give me some grace. I've never done a dance team before. So please give me a little bit of grace because I was actually doing what I wanted to do and learning at the same time.
Yeah.
Which sometimes many people, what they'll do is they'll wait until they know the whole process to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just not that person to wait.
Yeah.
I'll stumble and fall while I'm accomplishing my goals.
Yes.
And my goals was, let's get this dance team together.
Yeah.
Let's have fun. Let's make an impact on the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I liked it. When we were in, I'm going to tell you, the Melanin Market Parade. When we were in the Melanin Market Parade, all of those ladies on the sidelines, just, you could see their face light up when they realized that we were an over 40 dance team. It's like a movement was coming on with the city.
Yes.
And I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yes. So when did you realize that some division was forming within your team?
I realized it right after about the Melanin Market, when it came to, we were getting filmed for a documentary, and I had to basically kind of change our practice uniform.
Okay.
It would have been in our best interest to update the practice uniform that flatters more people.
Yeah.
And that's all. And when I did that, it changed the game. It kind of made people think that I was trying to say, body shame them. And I never, ever, ever used that word. And I mean, honestly, with me, I work on my weight. I had 20 pounds that I was trying to get off.
Yeah.
So I would never body shame anyone. But that's when I realized that there was a division coming on in regards to, I wanted every one of us to look our best on camera. I wouldn't want you to look nice in something, and then maybe I look crazy. She looks nice, and you look, even though it's the same thing. Because remember you were saying you can have two larges, and they be shaped
different.
totally different.
Yeah.
So my goal was that, and I think that that's when things started happening. And then that just started a lot of what I think may have already been said in the background, you know what I mean? But it brought it to the forefront. It just brought it
to the forefront. Yeah. So when everything came to a head, how did you personally feel about how all of the things unfolded? You know, how everything came about. How did you personally feel about that? Because me and you talked, and I told you, I said, a lot of times people take you as being harsh or you're being difficult to work with when something is your passion, and they kind of take it just blasé, like something that we just doing for fun, something on the weekend, a side hustle or gig or whatever. But this is something that you done laid in bed countless hours of the night thinking about and trying to make it better. This is like your baby. This is one of your projects, your things that you feel passionate about. And they kind of, taking it, like it's just something that, okay, if I'm available next Saturday, instead of making availability, so how did you take that as did you take it personally?
I did. I was hurt because I know how much I put into it, and I know that I never do anything maliciously.
Yeah.
Everything I do is for the greater of the team. You get what I'm saying? And that, like, when it first happened, I cried that night.
Yeah.
Like, I did. It hurt me very much because I'm like, wow. Number one, to find out that all of this is going on, you never even knew it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I am like a drill sergeant. I don't play. I'm a stickler for time. Yeah. Time is valuable. I like people to be on time.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be exercising and eating healthy. But if I see you walk up to practice eating a big bag of chips, I'm going to say something. And I do. Yeah. And then if I see you lallygagging, I'm going to say something. That's just how I do to make things run successful. And to me, that's respect for everybody.
Yes.
And so sometimes people aren't used to that. And I'm going to tell you something I think that offended somebody one time. And it's fine, but now I look back on it, not knowing that some people, I'm used to dealing with myself and dealing with getting things done. It was practice, and they were walking up, kicking and and they were late. And I said, don't do me like you do them people's job. Be on time.
Yeah.
And like, but my thought is, if I'm here on time, and the speaker's plugged up, and I'm stretched out, and it's 2:30, and I'm standing in my spot, practice starts at 2:30.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things, saying how I speak to people, but I'm just very direct. You know what I mean? I'm a nice person, but I'm a kind person. But I'm not. This thing has to be done. I'm not a pushover. And then I'm not going to get on stage and look crazy when I could have said, hey, we need to take the time and we need to be on time so we can fully practice. Because sometimes people want to get there late and they still want to leave on time, even though we are not, the routine is not together.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I didn't do that, who would? And then if you see Pink Rubies and we out there dancing, they're like, I don't know what that is Kitty put together.
Yeah. So let me ask you, like I said, with everything unfolded with the resignation of your former team members, it was a very public thing. How did you handle that, and what did you take away from that experience?
I think I handled it with grace. One thing I did was I thought about it before I even responded. I thought about it. And I can understand where they might be coming from on some of the things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do. But in essence, there were something that could have been avoided. We were supposed to have a meeting.
Yeah.
And no one showed up. Well, one person did show up. One of the main person, the captain, had a meeting with the creative director, the branding queen, and gave a list of grievances. I responded to each grievance. I emailed my response to each person so that when we had the meeting, we could discuss.
Yes.
But no one came to the meeting, which let me know that they were probably gone then. Just didn't know it.
You just didn't know it.
You know what I mean? I just didn't know it.
Because I say it all the time, communication is key, clarity is our friend.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's surprising to me, you know, when you talked about the situation, for you dealing with people 40 and up, and it to be handled like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would think that at our age and older, that you would have learned life lessons on how to communicate with people and handle your grievances and your differences and stuff like that, and not just, you know, be done kind of mean girl style. That was kind of high school.
And that was one of the things that we were told, that my creative director, mean girl. And I was like, we never mean girls. That's not even my style. But then I felt like I was mean girl, which is fine. I'll be okay. You know what I mean? But everybody does have their own way of doing things. And I just think it could have been done a little different or just sent to me. But it was because, you know, when you resign from your job, you resign from your job.
Yeah.
You don't still put your resignation letter on Facebook.
True. That's why I say it could have been handled. It could have been handled differently. But again, that goes back to dealing with people probably in a capacity of never being a leader, you know. And I have a good friend of mine that says, chickens don't hang with eagles, you know, or eagles don't hang with chickens, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
You know, not saying that they are that, but you have to understand at some point in time, take a step away from your ego and understand what it was that you were trying to do. And from the direction you was coming. Like I said, a lot of people don't feel that passion. And, you know, a good friend of mine told me, he said, Nicole, a lot of people not going to share your dreams because God didn't give them the vision. So sometimes people just kind of get caught up in it, but they don't share that vision. They don't share that dream with you on making it successful. I mean, it was the prime time to be a Pink Rubies because that was from the ground. You know what I mean? That was from the ground. So it was like, let's put on our boots. Let's jump in the trenches together and let's build this thing and make it. And they had to see the same things that you saw, how the women on the sidelines was admiring y'all and seeing what you guys was doing.
Exactly.
Why not try to be a part of that?
Exactly.
And, you know, like I told you, I would have been a part of it, but I'm in and out, you know, in California and stuff.
Yeah.
So I felt like it would be a disservice to the team and to myself and to you because I wouldn't make practices and I probably would miss a lot of events.
I'm thinking, honestly, what could have happened, and I'm not sure, and I don't talk to him to know, is that once it started getting so popular, and I started putting that we're going to have auditions. This time I took whoever came, which was fine. But now I'm going to have auditions. When I have auditions, we made a flyer of what we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now if we're telling people ahead of time what we want, and if you're currently there and you're not on board for that, when the auditions come, maybe you may not make it.
You may not make it.
Yeah. And that could have been a thing. And then sometimes I think maybe the former people prefer the social club, which would still be fine. Pink Rubies may have been a fun thing, but it was more about their friendship. And I'm glad that, first of all, I'm glad that I brought them all together to even get to know each other. I really didn't know anybody. I knew the creative director and one other person. The other ones I kind of associated with the gym, and some people I never met. So I'm glad that they came together and became friends. And now maybe that's more of a social club aspect of it, and not really wanting to go through auditions or anything because it might break up the club. It'll break up the team. Because mine it was a team, and with a team, everybody initially will have to try out again.
True.
And the one thing I did is I didn't ask for anything I don't do.
Yeah.
So if I said stretch, exercise, be on time, eat healthy, get a uniform, anything I asked for, I was doing it, and I made sure that I did it to 100%.
Yeah.
On top of running all of those businesses. If I'm doing Pink Rubies and my car wash gets to be on the news at the same time, I'm not dropping one for the other.
Yeah.
I was doing 100 with all of my things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think your business relationships and the integrity of your brand play a role in how the situation played out? Like, do you think that you would have been worse off as far as the public's opinion if you didn't have such a strong work ethic and brand?
I think if I didn't have a strong ethic and brand, Pink Rubies wouldn't have been a thing anyway.
Oh, yes, true,
It really wouldn't have.
true.
If we would have been practicing in the garage. Well, first of all, the brand is my brand is kind of what got it together. I put it out there on Facebook.
Yes.
And I said what I wanted, and then all these people responded. I took all of those names from the comments to my inbox to my text messages and kept a leads list. Contacted everybody, got my creative director to make a flyer, contacted every single person on there, and got them and sent them the flyer. Said, this is the date, here's the information. Contacted Leroy Mosley at the Emmett Reed Center. Do you have a spot where we could possibly practice? Had to write up a thing with him to get that. Contacted, trying to get choreographers, did all of that. So had I not had what I have, it wouldn't be a Pink Rubies.
Wouldn't be a thing, yeah. I got it. So what are some of the lessons that you've learned from that experience?
One of the lessons is vetting. I'm going to have to vet people.
Yes.
Vet people. I'm going to have to do an interview process. I'm going to have to, we came up with this org chart, you all. You can't really see it, but I really needed an org chart. I really needed like a team, like, okay, myself, a manager, a dance team captain, then the team, administrative assistants, all of this stuff I know now. And so those are things that I'm implementing now to make it more organized. And I'm working on me. Sometimes I am very direct.
Yes.
And sometimes some women, like you could just, okay, we're direct, we're fine. But not everybody is so direct. But because I didn't know everybody and I'm used to just operating, I didn't know if I offended.
Yeah.
And I can take it. One time I did offend someone and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I was kidding from another situation, but I was like, oh, she's just a youngster. I said, girl, you a youngster. But I was saying that as a good thing, but not realizing that they took it a certain way. So I could do things better and learn, you know what I mean?
Okay. So let's see, you restructured and established a 501c3 and you're preparing for a fresh start now. What excites you about the future of the Pink Rubies Dance Team?
All right, you know what? Let me tell you something. The reason that we're establishing a 501c3, I didn't know that Pink Rubies was going to lead me that way. But what I found out through the process is if you're going to fundraise, you really need a 501c3.
Yeah.
You really are limited on your fundraising if you don't have a 501c3. Because if either you're going to have a nonprofit or you're going to have a business or you're just going to have additional income coming into your account. Yeah. So if you're a team and you're not an LLC and you're not a nonprofit, that money going to come into your account and you're going to have to pay taxes on it eventually. So it's going to increase your income because I'm taking dues from everybody. I'm taking uniforms from everybody. It's coming into a personal account because it's not a business account. Yeah. And that's going to increase the income. Then there's going to be tax repercussions. If you're not a business person, you wouldn't think of that. Yeah. But or you make it a business. If you make it a business, now you do an LLC and you open up a business bank account. Is everybody on the team going to be in the business? Are we going to have an LLC with 13 people? Or are we going to have it with 2 people or 1 person? But whatever. Now you have to put it in your business account. So it has to be structured right. So now you need a CPA or somebody because you're going to have to do taxes on it. The expense is going to have to come out of it. Or you go nonprofit. If you go nonprofit, you can fundraise. There's more opportunities. There's grants, there's loans, there's different things you can do. And you can actually get out in the community and now start helping different dance teams, cheerleader teams, after school care. So what I thought would be a 40 and over dance team has actually now become something that can really help the community. Okay. And I didn't know that back in October. And I'm going to tell you what, I think I was talking to my creative director, the branding queen. And I said, you know what? God drops things on you. And he probably knew that he'll drop that, I like to dance, so I'll make a dance team.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll start dropping little different gems on me and lessons. But that was my way. He knew that if he dropped this on me, eventually I'll figure it out and I'll keep going. And now I can help more than just myself. I can help the community. Whereas some people may have backed out at a certain time because this becomes a lot.
All right. So what kind of women are you looking for now for the new Pink Rubies Dance Team?
I'm basically looking for 40 and over, people who have time, because it does take time. You do have to come to practices. And you do 2 or 3 practices a week. You do have to have time on your own to stretch. You do have to have time to do community services. You do have to have time to exercise. So people who have time and want to be a part of something great in our community. So we will be dancing. Because like one time when I was dancing, my grandbaby was like, at the MLK celebration, she was just stunned that I was up there dancing with a team. And the whole time I was dancing, I was looking at her. Because now you're making an impact. Your granddaughter see you dancing, she was just like, so you're making an impact that if grandma can do it, I can do it. Then you're going out to their schools and to the parks. You're doing it to the community. Those girls will see us. And that's something that in Jacksonville we just don't have.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody, an over 40 dance team. You know what I mean? So that's my passion, y'all.
So let me ask you this. After everything that has happened, the lessons, the losses, the growth, what do you want the legacy of the Pink Rubies Dance Team to be?
I want the Pink Rubies Dance Team to be that we impacted our community greatly.
Yes.
That's what the legacy is. I want young girls, women, to see that there are some positive Black females out there doing something for fun. Sometimes after 40, you lose your luster. You don't do anything for yourself. It's family and work.
Yes.
This gives purpose to everything. It makes you be more organized at home so you can practice.
Yes.
It gives a lot of women some brightness into their life, something to do. Yeah. Yes. That's what I want the legacy of Pink Rubies Dance Team to be. All
right, Kitty. So you know how it go. Before we get out of here, man, just give a shout out to whoever you want to bless to talk about on this podcast, man. Just give the people some shout outs. Okay, March is Women History Month. And I want to give a shout out to some women business owners that make this happen. Number 1, my locks. Locks by Gigi. She did my hair. My ensemble. Tanya Thomas, Lady Odessa's Closet. Yeah. My makeup by Patrice. And then our Pink Ruby sign, just so you know, this is our official logo, the branding queen. All right. And the biggest shout out to Divas of the Round Table. All of these women that made it happen. Come on, man. Hey, we'll take it. So there you have it, you guys. Make sure y'all keep up with Kitty and the Pink Rubies Dance Team. Make sure you go over there on Lim Turner and patronize her with the car wash, Kitty's Custom Cleanings, Rising CEO Academy, Kitty's Lawn Service. You name it, she got it. 360 booth, everything. And don't forget, I'm going to give a shout out to my girls, Ladybug and Spicy Red. They're not here today. If you get that call from the school telling you to come pick up your bed behind kids, think of my girl Ladybug. She's been in education for 27 years. If you're on the highways and byways of the good old United States and see that FedEx truck, think of my girl Spicy Red. She's driving for FedEx. And if you think about anything dealing with love, peace, and prosperity, please think of me. Y'all be blessed and have a good night.